Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Welcome to another episode of The Road Less Traveled. We are really excited to be here with Ben from Black Sheep Global. I am ecstatic to talk about this, but I want to hear about the journey to starting the company.
Oh.
So can you, because this...
How far back do you really want to go here? Because it goes into some pretty interesting spots.
Okay, so I want to start back there because entrepreneurship, it started somewhere. And let's go.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to blame my mom. Right? My dad is a pastor. Still is, actually, to this day. And
I would not have guessed that.
Oh, okay. Well, I will tell you more about that another time because it's interesting how that's affected my life in a ton of positive ways.
Okay.
But because of that, my family was just not business-minded at all. We didn't really have any entrepreneurial anything. But my parents knew two things. Number one, they wanted all of us kids to be musical. So, we all had to do piano lessons and, singing, do the choir, all the things, right? But number two, my mom was convinced that real estate specifically was the way to go, right?
Wait. I have to ask, did she actually invest in real estate?
No. My parents have never bought a single piece of investment property in their lives. However, my mom heard a presentation by Robert Kiyosaki sometime back in the 80s. It's like, this is it. So she bought Rich Dad, Poor Dad and made all of us kids read it as we were growing up. And that was my first exposure to anything truly entrepreneurial. Now, that's the setting. Now, 7 years old, we're living in the country. And already I've got the itch. Like, I want to do something to make some money. So I go out, steal a hammer from the garage, grab some rocks from the driveway, and I smash the rocks into little bits of powder dust with my younger sister. We're going to go sell rock dust to the neighbors. And we did. We took little baggies. I mean, they're dime bags, basically. I'm sure people were wondering, what is this? But we're little kids who are walking around with bags of rock dust. And I think we sold maybe 2 bags for like $0.25 or something like that.
That's amazing.
Best salesman of all time, right here. Kidding, of course. But that was a start. And then from there, we went to selling eggs from the chickens and baking cookies in the kitchen and selling that to the neighbors and then walking the dogs and then buying a weed whacker. My parents fronted me my first investment money when they gave me money to buy a weed whacker. We lived in California. So I had to, we had to clear the fields so there wouldn't be fires because that was a big issue where we lived. And so I would go out at, 12, 13 and get paid $10 an hour to weed whack people's, 5-acre lot next to their house. And so ever since then, there's just been a drive for all of these various types of entrepreneurship. Now, this didn't really mature for a long time. I would say not until I got married. Then it was like, oh, shoot, entrepreneurship is actually for a reason. It's not just make money. I actually need to take care of people who I love. And so this has to happen, right? I'm going to make this happen. And so my first, I would say, real intentional endeavors were trying to learn the fulfillment by Amazon model, which I think a lot of people have messed around in, where you go and you do retail arbitrage and you shop through, the Ross and the Macy's and like anywhere you can get discount anything, and you scan barcodes and try to find it on Amazon. And let me tell you, that was horrible. And my wife did not kill me, but she should have. We had an apartment that was just like full of random shoes and clothing items, and I was like in it to win it, and I spent way too much money, and it was ridiculous. And I learned I was not very good at this. But I had some mentors who had been very successful, so I was trying to glean, like, okay, I know there's a way to do this, but it just did not click. And so eventually I was like, well, okay, this isn't working. We're having a family. I got to focus on taking care of my wife and kids, and life happened, right? Life passed. We had our first, my daughter, and then we got pregnant with number 2. And we had decided, we moved from our first apartment, and we had decided we really, really want to buy our own home, right? Early married, I think we were like 2-3 years in. we really like to get out of an apartment. We hate living in apartments, and let's buy a home. So what are we gonna do? Well, let's move in with my wife's parents because I knew enough about real estate. I was like, this is gonna be my number one expense of paying rent or paying a mortgage. So if I want to get to the point of being able to afford a mortgage, I've got to save a lot of money. So I knew that was the path. We had to do whatever we could to live cheaply. So we moved in with my in-laws, and then I live in Houston, and Hurricane Harvey happened. And we were living on the lower story of their home. And I will never forget, my wife was 39 weeks pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
And waking up on a Sunday morning with a neighbor banging on the door and walking outside and seeing water in the street and thinking, oh, crap, I don't know what to do. I have to get out and I have to take care of my family. And so we packed up everything that we could in about an hour. And in that hour, the water went from being down the street to not at our front door, but getting pretty close.
Wow.
And that was an incredibly emotional and dramatic time where I left that house never knowing if I would return. And all I knew that I had was the little bit of money I had in the bank because we'd only been there 2 months. We had barely gotten started. And everything that was in my 2007 Honda Accord. And that was it. And it was such a weird and like it makes me a little emotional to think about it. It was a really heart-wrenching and also like big realization of first, this is really scary. Life is not easy. And number two, everything that actually matters is in this car.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really big realization. So fast forward, we had our son 2 weeks after the hurricane. That was absolutely insane.
Oh my goodness.
We lived with our midwife.
Live with your midwife.
We went, had the baby, and we had nowhere to go. So our midwife said, just come stay with me for a couple weeks while you get things figured out. And I was able to take time off and, take care of my wife and start helping with recovery efforts of my in-laws and just kind of go through this whole path of destruction. And eventually we got all settled in. The long and short of it is that we were staying about an hour and a half from my office. And I had to drive to the office twice a week. I could work remotely most of the time, but it was like, well, shoot, I'm going to spend an hour and a half in the car both ways, twice a week. Podcaster thing. I should listen to podcasts about real estate because I know real estate's important and I'm trying to save money and I'm able to basically live for free thanks to some very generous friends. And so I started listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast.
Okay.
And within a year of that happening, I had bought our first personal home and I bought 2 investment properties. And I took the advice that I learned from the podcast, which was, it doesn't matter who you talk to or where you are, talk about real estate. And just be the guy that everyone wants to talk or everyone hears always talking about real estate. And so that's what I did. I was like, I can do that. That's free. I don't need any special training for that. So I just talked about real estate as much as I could. And that was really my first true dip into like, okay, this is entrepreneurship that makes money, not just me trying something, buying random crap from a store and trying to resell it. And then from there, it's been a journey. I mean, that was 7-8 years ago now.
Wow.
So lots of other twists and turns, but that's kind of how it all got started.
That's an amazing story. The question I have is, your siblings, how many siblings do you have?
There's 9 of us.
Okay.
Big family. Yeah.
Your mom's amazing.
She is.
Like going straight to heaven. But your siblings, are they all entrepreneurial like
Yes.
you? Okay.
Every single one, without exception, is in some type of entrepreneurial endeavor, whether they own a business or they are, an independent contractor who is effectively running the business. But I think there's only one of my in-laws, well, two who are employed through a traditional job, but everyone else works in some type of entrepreneurial endeavor. So yeah, and we're all still musical too.
That is interesting. That means your mom did something right.
My parents are very intentional. Yeah.
Okay, so how did Black Sheep Global get born though? Like, where did the vision start? Where was it like, I want to do this. This is where I think I should be.
Yeah. So I worked for LeadSimple for a couple of years. That was really my introduction into the prop tech space. And as I mentioned, I had toyed with real estate. I bought a couple of properties. My brother-in-law and I partnered on a couple of deals. And that was a great start. It got them started. They actually now own like 100 and something units that they've built up with their own portfolio.
Wow.
And we got started together in that. LeadSimple recruited me to start working with their team. And I was like, wait a minute. I like technology and I like real estate. And I know I still want to invest in real estate, but this is probably a really good career choice to start understanding this industry. So I was there for a couple of years, had an incredible experience, learned so much about the world of property management. And what I found at LeadSimple is that there was an opportunity for me to niche down. I had spent the previous decade working in sales and customer service, and I was really good at that. And I was like, wait a minute, if I take what I know and I'm good at and I learn a whole nother skill set, that's probably going to be valuable, right? A little combination action. And so going to LeadSimple, I learned all about real estate. I learned all about technology and process implementation and understanding CRMs and the structures of different technologies and how they fit together. I was like, okay, well, shoot, this is actually something that's of value. So after I left LeadSimple, I went on to some other opportunities and then got pulled into some consulting. I was like, this is pretty dang interesting. So I started consulting, and within about, I want to say a month and a half, that income from consulting replaced my W-2. Well, here we go. It's time to start a business.
Okay, so I actually want to dive into the consulting part. Like, there are so many, especially now in the property management space. If someone was coming to you and asking you, how do I find the right consultant? How would you answer them? Because how do you know they're good at what they do? You can spend a lot of money real quick and get nothing if you're not careful. So how do you know you're hiring the right person?
That's a great question. I would say one of the key considerations is, what's the outcome that you want? What do you actually need? A lot of people say, oh, I need a consultant. It's like, great. Why? What do you need a consultant for? Right? If you were to come to me saying, well, my maintenance is super messy and like things are just not working, it's not profitable, it's like, don't talk to me, I'm the wrong guy for that. Right? I'll tell you who to talk to, but it's not me. It really does come down to, what's the value that you need, and can I provide that or not, right? And for me, I don't want to work with people who I can't provide value to. Not that I don't like people or anything like that, but like, there has to be some value exchange for that relationship to be really positive. So we can hang out, we'll have a great conversation, let's do it. But if we're going to work together, there needs to be benefit on both sides. So I don't want to sign a deal with someone who's not getting a lot from the relationship. There's a book that I read some time ago called, the title's escaping me. It's going to come to me in a minute, and I will call it out. But the concept that I want to mention there is that you give more in value than you take in payment. And that's been a real driving principle. It's like, how can I do that? How can I create so much value for my clients that they want to pay me more? Or they feel like they got the better end of the deal because they're walking away with so much value and so much impact.
I think that's critical, because what you do is you actually you have someone become a lifer. Like, anytime they need help, they come back to you, right?
Yep.
But you asked a question in there that I say everybody has to ask this question. What is the outcome you want? Why are you hiring a consultant? Because I think in the industry, you hear people that say, you just need a consultant. You just need a consultant. The problem is some people are like, I want the consultant to fix my problems. Do you find this?
Oh, yeah.
I want someone to fix my problems. They can give you the roadmap, but how often do you find that literally the company needs to fix the team or the leadership?
About 95% of the time. Yeah, there's an interesting phrase that's gone around a couple of times that I've really appreciated, and it's that coaches and consultants are not the same thing, right? And I think it is more often the case when someone says you need a consultant that they're actually saying you need a coach, right? And when I think about the difference between consultants and coaches is consultants are there to provide specific solutions for specific problems. Coaches are there to help you self-develop. And self-development is usually the bigger need for most people, right? Most of us are a little bit too stuck in our own heads, and we need someone to help us see how we're screwing up, right?
100%.
And it's not just about a second perspective, because on the consultancy side, right, that's the second perspective. It's like, hey, I'm a pro, I've done this before. Here's 50 reasons why you should do this thing. A coach is there to help you navigate a challenging scenario without inserting their own opinion. And we try to play in both places because honestly, I love coaching. It's a ton of fun. But our primary space is in that consultancy when we are really doing something and helping provide an outcome. So to bring this all back around to your question, I think it really does come back to what do you want? What is the outcome that you need? And you're right. There's a lot of different consultants in the space right now. And there are a lot of competing consultants, right? So when it comes down to, okay, well, I've defined my need. Here's the outcome that I want. Then it comes down to personality, right? Who's the right person for you? Some people are super in your face. Some of us really need people who are really in our face.
That's true.
Other people are less so, right? They're going to have a softer approach. And hiring a consultant's not always the right answer. Sometimes you just need a second perspective. And you can find a lot of that just within ARPA.
That's true. That's totally true. But how, from the people that come to you, how often do you feel like, or you talk to them and they're wanting you to come in and transform their team or transform and like fix the problems? But in essence, that's not really consulting, unless depending on the consultant you hire. But like, how many times? Okay, this is gonna be a hard question. We can erase it if you want. But how many times do you feel like you get blamed for, and I know consultants do, but get blamed for the outcome when in reality, the outcome is literally the leadership and the team behind it. You can consult on something. You can develop a software. But this is what I always say. A software needs someone to manage it. Anything you do needs something to manage it. So how often do you feel like there's a tug of war in that?
All the time. All the time. It's almost everyone. It is an exception to the rule to work with a company who has a leadership team that is self-aware enough to see that the problems that they're experiencing are mostly their fault. And I think it's a perfectly natural thing for a leader to say, we have a big problem. I need to solve this problem. Where's the solution? Just give me a fix.
I think that what you just said, just give me a fix. There is no easy fix.
It's not.
There's no easy fix. And that's why I think, like for instance, and I've said this a lot of people are like, hey, bring in a software, it will fix your problems. How often do you hear that with AI? How often do you hear with these processes, softwares, all these things?
Yeah.
And I'll have salespeople come to me and they're like, hey, Tiff, it'll fix your problems or whatever. I'm like, no, it won't. I need a team behind this. Because at the end of the day, the team is what makes things move forward. When it breaks, who fixes it? The software company's not going to. I hate to say that, but that's not their responsibility. Expectations are the business fixes it, right? Unless it's technical. But I find that and I've had to come to the realization, what's truly going on here, right? In everything we do. I think that's why it took me so long to do LeadSimple, now Apply, and all these things. So how do you get past that? Or how do you make sure you set expectations in a way that with Black Sheep Global to make sure that that's not a sore subject?
Yeah. So when I have a conversation with someone who we'd call a prospect, I ask a lot of questions.
I know.
I really want to know everything that's going on in the company, whether it be about their tech stack or their personnel or their history or their leadership style or the problems that they've experienced. I really want to understand what's the driving force behind their reason to reach out in the first place. One of the things I like to tell my kids and my team is nobody does something for no reason.
It's true.
There's always a thought process. You know, when you are driving down the road and someone flips you off, they didn't do that for no reason. Like something happened in their life that day, very likely, that's causing them to be really mad, right? Or, you know, whatever the scenario is, there's always a reason. So I want to understand that reason. That's a really key part of the equation for me. And once I understand that reason, I tell my clients, this is going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, you did tell us that. Actually, I want to dive into that a little bit deeper if you're willing.
Sure.
I'd like to dive in when you interviewed me, because you did. And we got on the phone multiple times. It wasn't just once. And you had to have been tired of me by the end, because I like call you. I'm like, ask questions. How did you know, and maybe you still don't know, but how did you know you'd at least bring me on or our team on? Or what was like, okay, this could be a good fit? Or how did you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things to unpack in that. So there's a reality of we're a business, right? We want to take clients. So when we have opportunities, if it seems like it's the right person, we're going to try to close it. But what I'm looking for in a client is someone who is willing to change. That's a really key requirement. A lot of times, and I'm not saying this to like put people down in any way, we recognize the need for change, but we're not always willing to change.
Oh, that's true.
Like a lot of people will see, okay, I've got this massive problem. I need a fix. I need a solution. But when the solution has presented itself, we're pulling back because it's uncomfortable or it's expensive or it doesn't feel good. It's like, this is a solution to your problem. It's a lot of work. So it's not easy. It costs a lot of money. All of these things make this hard, but if it was easy, it wouldn't be a good solution, right? There's a meme about things that are fast, easy, and expensive, and you can only have two of the three, right?
It's true. Oh yeah, there's a
expensive
triangle.
And fast. Yeah, there's a diagram for this. Yeah.
Oh yes, I love this diagram.
it's really relevant in this scenario,
Especially
because it is not it. If you want it easy, like this is, first of all, that's just not it, right? We don't do easy. And that's not because we don't want to make our clients' lives better. But when our clients come on, they're approaching us with a really fundamental issue, right? Oftentimes, like you were mentioning earlier, the root issues are tied into leadership challenges or planning issues. And that's a very intimate, self-reflective kind of a problem. So what I like to say here is when we engage in process builds and things like this, more often than not, it reveals the needs, right? Building the processes is just part of the fun, right? We create tools that help your team be more efficient and like all of these good things. But what it reveals is all these different needs of like, wow, there's actually like a greater need for organization, and we need to think about mentoring our team and how do we help them grow, and what are we actually doing to not just build processes, but to have the project of building this whole business, right? Because building a business is a project, not a process. It is a start here and go here, and it's not going to happen again, right? You get to do it one time. So all of these things often reveal themselves as we are communicating with our clients, and sometimes that requires like really confrontational conversations, which I enjoy because I love seeing people realize it's like, oh wow, there's actually, first of all, okay, I messed up, but secondly, there's something I can do about it. My team does not enjoy those so much. Working on coaching them on that one, but I think seeing our clients realize their potential is the best part of doing what we do. And I think that potential is in everyone, right? Our clients are incredible. Their drive to do what they do has gotten them to where they are. And that's amazing. But when they look at where they are and they say, oh, I'm not happy with this, or this doesn't work. It's like, great, that's awesome. You're realizing the first part.
Yep.
Now we have to think about, okay, how do we go from I understand the problem to there's actually a solution out there. I just need to find it. And a lot of
100%.
times it's self-discovery stuff.
Oh, I would say that's a lot of it, self-discovery. When you brought us on, were there any red flags?
Ooh, gosh, you're asking me the hard questions.
I
Yeah.
like hard questions.
So I will say the one big red flag for
I
you
know
guys
there was one, and I better know what it was.
was that you wanted everything and you wanted it fast,
Uh-huh.
right? And you wanted to do it aptly and rent vine at the same time. And I told you up front, I was like, this is going to be really painful. And you said, it's okay. I will embrace the pain. I'm like, okay, as long as you sign this, you tell me that it's good, then we will happen and we will make this work. But don't expect it to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't expect this to not tear at the fabric of the space-time continuum for your company, right? This is going to be a major fundamental change in how you do business. And that's a really good outcome, right? When you say fundamental change in how you do business, it's like, that sounds great. But when you put it in the context of we're switching 2 softwares and involving 25 people all in making this entire change, and it is going to affect our company culture and how we do work on a day-to-day basis, all the million things, that's a little bit harder to swallow.
It is. And I think that's why we actually did hire you, because you were because I knew it was going to be hard. But everybody else told me, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, changing 2 softwares is like, you might as well put me in a grave. I mean, it just is what it is. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Especially when you're changing the amount of properties and everything. It's just a lot. And so that's one of the reasons why we actually hired y'all, because you really, this ain't going to be easy, Tiff. And this is going to be hard. But I knew that was the red flag. I knew it was. I was wondering if there was any other ones.
Well, I think it's really important, especially in the consultancy game, to tell the truth.
Yes.
Right? Call it like you see it. It doesn't help to butter people up. It's like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be awesome. It's like, no, it's really gonna suck for a while.
It's really gonna suck.
It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better.
It is. And so I think that's why I think we've had a lot of conversations about how do you fill the gap? How do we fill the gap?
Yeah.
How do we make sure we see what we're not seeing?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we've talked night and day about that just to make sure that we're trying to find the gaps, you know? But what would you tell our viewers, the people that are going through the roller coaster of entrepreneurship? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
So give me a little bit more definition on that. Advice around business development.
Their life.
Okay.
They're growing a business.
Yeah.
You're in the midst of it. You're growing a business.
Yeah.
And guess what? No business is just straight up. It's a roller coaster. And if anybody says it's straight up, I would say they're lying.
Oh, my business runs perfectly.
I know.
Every day.
But what would you tell them? Because there are days in any entrepreneurial's life that they're like, why the hell am I doing this? You know? But at the end of the day, they're like, I would never give it up, right? So what would you tell them if they're in that low point where they're like, nothing's running right, everything's hitting walls? What would you tell them?
I would tell them there are 3 keys that they need to master in their business. They need to understand their principles, they need to understand their policies, and they need to understand their processes. And those 3 keys have to be in place for you to build a successful business. Now, most of us hyper-focus on one of them.
So true.
Guilty.
I think we're all guilty.
And it's really easy to fall into that trap because we lean on our natural abilities and the things that we're best at, and it's just the way that people work, right? But without those 3 pieces being completely formed, it's going to be very, very challenging for you to build a business past your own natural ability. Now, it is my opinion that for a small business, when you are early on in your building, you should start with your processes. And my reasoning behind this, and people will debate me, and I'm okay with that, is that starting with processes reveals the other things.
I actually agree with you.
Okay, tell me.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. We were just willy-nilly trying to figure out how to do it. But when you start with process and you do your process, you become a system.
Mm-hmm.
And you need systems in anything that's going to run functionally and actually good. You have to have systems in place to actually run smooth, right?
Yeah.
And so many times when entrepreneurs get into business, it's like, just get the business, right? Just grab the business.
Yep.
But the problem is, how many times do we lose those clients because we don't have any systems?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think systems is the answer, right? It's whether it's a process system of I'm going to do this again and again, or it's taking a systematic look at how you answer emails, or how you schedule your calendar, or how you hire, or how you fire, or fill in the blank, how you schedule time for your spouse, right? All of these things need systems. A really great quote the other day, which was, it takes a lot of planning to be spontaneous.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Sorry, it took me a little bit to get that, but it does.
I love that, right? Because if I'm thinking about creating a spontaneous date with my wife, I've got to do a lot of planning for that. First of all, I have to be able to like sneak it around her. Secondly, I need to have a place to go, right? I need to set aside the money, make sure there's the babysitter. Like all of these different things have to be true. And the more I get okay with saying that, even in my relationships, I have to be systematic. The more I get okay with that, the more I can see, wow, this really applies everywhere. If I don't have processes, as Zig Ziglar would say, I'm a meaningless generality.
Ooh.
Right? It's meaningless generality versus a meaningful specific, right? I want to be a meaningful specific. I want to have purpose, and creating processes and having definition gives me a boundary, a place where I've defined this is what is and what I will put up with. These are the things that I will allow and the things that I will not. And I can operate within that frame of reference.
I actually really like that. I never thought about it like that until you said it and kind of explained it. But I'm going to use that.
Go for it.
I'm going to totally use it.
Copyright it.
I know, exactly, right? What's the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh. There was something my dad said to me many years ago when I was in my early 20s. And it's kind of dumb, but I really have appreciated it over the years. And that is, make it happen, make it count.
Oh, I like that.
Do the thing and just go all in. And that has been a very helpful reminder in different times of like, wow, this part of life sucks. Or this is really challenging for any number of reasons. And you only get one life, only get one opportunity. So make it happen and make it count.
Well, I like that a lot. Just do it. Just get it done. Just, I love that. Ben, I really appreciate you coming out and talking with us today. I love y'all's business. I love talking business because it's like, no matter what business you're a part of, everybody needs systems and everybody has a roller coaster. So at the end of the day, you just make it happen.
That's right.
So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.